Hey everyone, Eric Whitley here for L2l, and welcome to this webinar on simplifying shop floor connectivity. We're going to talk about some exciting things happening in the world of smart manufacturing and machine connectivity. One of the topics we're going to cover is a brand new product from L2l called L2l Connect, an important advancement in simplifying how you collect and transmit data from the machines to L2l for analysis. We're going to talk to one of L2l's newest team members, Marco Vasilevsky, who is one of the original thought leaders behind this technology. You may have heard the announcement or seen the press releases, but if not, here's the big news. L2l has acquired Accumine. In our ongoing efforts to make smart manufacturing simple so you can accelerate and win, L2l has joined forces with Accumine to bring in new connectivity hardware and software to make this happen. Basically, the acquisition of Accumine fills a gap in helping our clients get machine data into L2l with a quick, affordable, and easy to install solution. L2l Connect will complement and strengthen the other L2l modules already at work in your factory. L2l Connect uses 3 levels of data connectivity to help you achieve the optimal fit for your factory. First is what we call Starter, which is our open APIs that you can access and connect to in order to push and pull data into L2l from other systems at your desired pace. The second level is called Accelerator. This level comes with a pre-built connector that allows you to connect simply and directly to your ignition server. And the third level is called Complete, which provides hardware and software that gathers, transmits, and analyzes machine-level data in real time on your factory floor. And this is what we want to talk with Marco about today. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Hey, Marco, welcome. Glad to have you on board with us, and welcome to this webinar. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you guys here and to have you on board. I'm excited to have a conversation today, kind of about the tech and about the connectivity and stuff like that, and how that's going to help L2l move forward more, how it's going to help L2l clients. I think the really cool thing is just making it easier to help everybody connect to their data much quicker and much easier. So yeah, I'm excited for today. So thanks for joining me. Hey, let's start off a little bit. Why don't you go ahead, if you can, introduce yourself a little bit, tell us about yourself and kind of where you got started and what you see as your role going forward.
Yeah. So I initially came from a economics background. So lots of data analytics. During college, worked several co-op and internship positions in the manufacturing sector, and really just got a sense of just got a feeling that there's not much being done with all the data, right? You have all of these disparate data sources, you have lots of different equipment and lots of different machinery, and so much potential, but no one's really doing anything with it. Or if they are, it's becoming a very, very complicated project, which often leads to very little ROI. And so from there, the idea was, let's collect all of this data, let's put it in a centralized storage data warehouse, and then let's analyze it and come up with reports, let's come up with dashboards, all sorts of useful stuff. From there, one of the biggest pain points we found was off of equipment, it was very difficult to collect data. And so what we started doing is we created the Accumine sensor bot, as it's called now, and we were able to pull data very, very easily off equipment. And whether that's, we've got stories from connecting from equipment from the 1950s and 1960s to brand new machinery that was installed a week ago. They're still taking the plastic wrapping off. So that made it very, very easy. And once we had that data, we were able to integrate with all sorts of different systems on the plant floor, ERPs, MESs, and then just bringing that data together made it very. We found that was our value point. So
You mentioned a little bit about some machines from the 1950s and stuff. Tell us a little bit, kind of like what have you connected to? Give me a cool story, or not, maybe an odd story of a type of machine that you guys have been able to pull data off of in the past that we would have never thought we'd have been able to get that data off of.
Really, it's the even just as basic as the some old legacy presses. That's it sounds simple and it doesn't sound very exciting, but when you think about these old machines that had, there's no control systems on them. There's no, they're very, very rudimentary machines that do one or two actions. And
Right,
just being able to connect a sensor bot, uh there's not even any existing sensors on that machine. Just being able to collect data so easily that within an hour we can start seeing data on a dashboard, that just amazing.
right.
And then from there, a couple other examples. Portable welders, just those Miller welders
Oh,
that
really?
you drag around, being able to
Yeah.
put the sensor bot on there and just tuck it inside, and then they're moved around all over the facilities. As they're one day they might be in a certain section, the next day they might be moved over. So yeah, all sorts of cool stuff like that.
Yeah, so this is going to be like a really cool and new path that L2l customers can take now. How do you see this kind of enhancing what current L2l customers can tap into, and what they can kind of take to the next level when it comes to using L2L? What do you kind of see there?
So L2L in itself is already a great platform with lots of capability. With the introduction of L2L Connect, it's being able to reduce manual entry, which is a huge benefit, right? You have the reduction of errors. If operators are entering in production counts or any sort of measurement data hourly or sometimes even more frequently, there's a chance of errors and even just forgetting to enter in data. So being able to automate that, save some time there, huge benefit. And then from there, interlinking with some of the more complicated PM schedule capability and some of the other functionality in L2L is also huge benefit as well. The ability to do condition-based maintenance and trigger preventative maintenance schedules based on, let's say, vibration data or temperature data or any other data point that matters to the maintenance team. It automates that entire process, and they become more. It becomes more of a proactive rather than a reactive approach for the maintenance team.
Right. Let's talk a little more about condition-based maintenance. So what we're talking about is based on uh, some triggers or some type of signal from sensor bots and from the information from the machines. Then we can trigger and launch maintenance routines off of that. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Yep, yep. So
Yeah.
once we get the data into the system, so once the sensor bot collects, whether it's vibration data or temperature data, what happens is it goes into what we call the rules engine, and the rules engine takes all of the raw data and it's able to process it in a way where we can create all sorts of different workflows. Workflows or rules, we think of it as workflows because it's a very natural and intuitive way of thinking about the data. You have all these raw inputs, you're taking them, you're adding logic, that you know create some sort of end result, in a way that's sort of intuitive to think about from a whether it's from a maintenance perspective or from a production perspective. So in there, all sorts of different capability, whether it's uh, sort of you have sort of the developer, if else statements. You have the ability to aggregate data historically and generate sort of outputs based on that, and scheduling type of capabilities where you can trigger certain actions to happen, let's say every 5 minutes or every second, for example, and all sorts of different
Mm.
actions there.
Hmm. Hmm. What are the limitations of, I mean, is there really any type of process or any type of machine that we can't then connect to? Or are there any limitations on it?
The the only limitation, and I wouldn't even necessarily call it a limitation, it just adds a one extra step to the process, would be manual processes. So let's say a common one is packaging. You have this packaging line where it's, an employee is, manually performing packaging operations. From there, we typically need to add in some sort of, um, what typically happens is we'd add in a push button so that they would notify us when, they finished packaging a box or whatever the case might be. So it's a little bit more manual than we like it to be, but we still have a solution for it. So simple push button, no need for anything else. So yeah, that's the only limitation that comes to mind.
Right, right. So that's an interesting question then, like with the push button deal, is there anything else? I mean, other than like a smart manufacturing platform like L2l, what else is really needed to make all this happen then?
So really, all that's needed is we need from a very granular perspective. All that's needed is one Ethernet connection for the gateway. So the gateway is responsible for communicating with all of the different sensor bots on the plant floor, and it pushes the data out to the cloud. So it's one Ethernet port and someone to install the sensor bots. And
Mhm.
someone to install the sensor bots is typically someone from maintenance or a third party electrician. And on
Right.
average, it takes them less than an hour to install a sensor bot. So it's very quick. It's very basic
Mm.
um, electrical electrical operation. Typically, maintenance can do it. Someone in house, and there's no need for any any third party contractor or electrician.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes it way easy, right? I mean, we're not running these big Ethernet cables out to every piece of equipment and every piece of machine and having to run and drop lines from the
Yeah,
ceiling and all that stuff. We can just go out and set that thing in place.
that's a whole project in itself, right? To set up Ethernet drops or Wi-Fi. I mean, that's a 2-year project at some facilities.
So once we have gateway, how many sensors then can be run off of a single gateway then?
Typically around 25.
Oh,
So
nice.
a gateway can handle about 25 sensor bots, and that's just to prevent overload on that radio frequency. Um,
Right.
so, but you can have multiple gateways in the same building, and there's no limit in terms of the total number of sensor bots in a building. You just have to scale the number of gateways accordingly.
Right, right. So gateways, you can have multiple gateways in a single building that don't overlap with each other, and then you can
Yeah,
have 25 per gateway. So it's totally scalable then when it comes to, some of the customers that I go into, 700 pieces of equipment, you know what I mean? And but it's scalable based on what they need and what they want. So
yeah, exactly.
then from an L2L standpoint, L2L is scalable. So there really is no limit of the data that we can be pushing into everybody's custom L2L server
Yep,
in order to capture that data, and then also launching dispatches in order to capture that data and pull it up in Pareto charts as well. Is that correct?
yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's going to be cool. One of
Yep,
the things that we were talking about, we just had a conference here a little while ago, and one of the things I mentioned is that L2L really kind of the way that I kind of see this, and I know the way that our leadership team has been pushing lately is we really want to make the smart factory as simple to install as like your smart home devices.
yep,
Um, and it really sounds like it is on its way to doing that, or if it's not, it's already there. I mean, if it takes less than an hour, listen, it took me an hour to set up my first, Echo Dot in the house, and get everything connected with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really amazing. So awesome.
It's really about solving actual problems on the plant floor, right? I know every customer has issues on the plant floor, whether it's on the maintenance side, production side, quality side, and with the sensor bots, really, it's let's solve those problems, right? It's let's install the sensor bots, let's get the data into L2l, start seeing those reports, start sending those dispatches out, and then from there we grow and we solve other problems.
Yeah, we've always advocated a very pragmatic approach to putting a smart factory in place and using data to show you where you need to go solve your problem, and then attaching smart factory devices in order to help you get the detailed data, go solve that problem and move on, and that gives you the ROI. And
Yeah,
with making it easy to do that now with the sensor bots and with L2l Connect and everything that it offers, that just becomes a much quicker, simpler, and cost-effective approach
yeah,
to working towards a smart factory, right?
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, man, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it, Marco. Thanks for your time, and yeah, I'm looking forward to um, people beginning to try this with inside of their factories, making it very simple. And welcome to the team, man. We're
Thank
glad
you.
to have you. It's awesome to have you guys on board,
Yeah,
and
we're
looking forward to
excited
that.
on
So
our side as well. It's been great meeting everyone. Lots of new faces, and yeah, we're excited for
yeah,
what's
good,
to come.
good. All right, man. Take it easy, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, take care, Eric.
All right, see you. Bye. Hey, thanks for joining us. If you'd like to learn more about L2L, L2L Connect, or any of our other modules, go to L2L.com or click on the links provided, and we will get right back with you. I'm Eric Whitley for L2L, and thanks for joining me.